Okay, so we're going to try to explain our approach to architecture and the things we do at our office in Madrid. And we're going to try to explain what we understand by ecosystemic design, which is something that expands the notion of sustainability and how we apply it to architecture design and also the role architects can have in the built environment. We look into, well, we question what does sustainability mean to us by expanding the notion of sustainability, understanding what the sort of support architecture needs to have for any endeavor. So we have to look at sustainability from many points of view. It could be not only environmental, but also economical, social, and psychological. And we have to address that we have to understand that any endeavor or initiative needs to enroll a number of actors and agents to bring support to what we try to put in motion as architects from the office. And we'd like to show you, feeling so welcomed by all of you here also, to open the doors of our house and our website. So first we're going to, looking at our website, we have, well, these are some of the most significant projects we have done over the last years, and we're going to see today 3 of them, all of them made in timber, especially made in cross-laminated timber and glue-laminated timber. We would see, of course, the library Gabriel García Márquez, and also our house and studio located inside this cooperative development called Ourselves Houses, which is that block over there. First, I would like you to explain a little bit about what we do and what the kind of firm we are by opening, as I mentioned, the doors of our house. And this is our office, that building on the left there. That building on the right is our house, and it's located next to the cooperative block, which is a project that we will see next. Inside the office, we have a group of people. We are a small studio. We are more or less around 10 people, depending on the month or year, and we are sort of artisan office with an approach that we need to have hands over the matter we are in touch with. You know, devoting not only our time to what we do, but also all our knowledge and capacities, because the sort of projects we do require a commitment that usually extends just the design of a typical building. This is the cross section of the house, which features a sort of both Nordic and Japanese approach to architecture in order to, especially the Japanese aspect, in order to really take advantage of all the possibilities of a space and the volume we had to work with, because the 2 volumes are attached to an existing houses on both sides. So we had to really very respectful with the sort of volumetric conditions, and we introduced this interlocked space that really intensify the possibilities of the section to expand the spaces and introduce different programs and functions within the house. Can you go back? This place over here, this is the living room, and that place is where our children likes to hang things and sometimes do some sort of acrobatic things, which is something we identify ourselves a lot with, and that's why we have this image here, which is an acrobat from the opening day in the library Gabriel García Márquez. When we do what the projects that we like to share with you today are projects in which we have looked into some sort of challenge and some sort of void to fill, or a space to move on to, in order to add certain value to what architecture can bring to society and to the built environment. Okay. We like acrobatics, but we understand as well that they're not a way of gaining support to what we do. On the contrary, we have to acknowledge that any endeavor needs to enroll multiple agents, as I would say before, and that means that we have to move from a sort of prescriptive practice to a conversational one. We get engaged into multiple conversations in multiple iterations in order to construct, and what we understand by socially construct, that means to enroll as many links, as many bonds as possible to our endeavors. That means having conversations with our team members, having conversations with our clients, as happens here. This is the current president of the cooperative, in which we are constantly talking with. We work with timber structures, as I mentioned, and we address timber structures in a way that it's not like industrial carpentry, but rather, or more like cabinet making, which means that we look a lot into the joinery, the connections, the sort of features timber can bring within to produce not only structures, but also to produce furniture and other elements of our built environment. We like timber, which is a material that has accompanied humanity for thousands of years, but now we have a technology that brings possibilities that we had not before, and which also opens questions about what's going to be the appearance of architecture or timber architecture in the future. I think we have a challenge also as a society to respond to that question, and understanding that they can look differently from the let's say mountain hut or the farms we're familiarized with, and we can devise new possibilities for public buildings, residential buildings, and so on. And we like CLT, cross-laminated timber, because of many of the features it brings with it. Relates, of course, with the industrialized processes, the prefabrication, and the precision it brings within, but also with many of the features that relates with the human being comfort in the built environment, the textures, the agrothermal qualities, and especially we like to always emphasize the social capacities of timber, which are completely different from other structural materials like steel or concrete. We have a material with which we can build not only structural elements, but also furniture, things that we like to be in touch with, to be on top of them, to lay on, and so on, which is something that we can hardly do with other materials. And that's, well, this is an image of our living room, in which you can see a lot of these structural elements, some furniture that we have also designed for this house. We don't have much time to get into all the details about this houses, so we're gonna jump now to see the main two projects we would like to share with you today. The cooperative house, which is the block we were seeing behind, is this residential building, which is, as I said, we mentioned, as we were mentioning before, a project that we set up and tried to develop from the office from the very beginning. It was an initiative we took and in the office after having conversations with our friends and with ourselves, but we thought we got to a point in which we needed a sort of an architectural device to act as a sort of vehicle to convey all those, that willingness to do this cooperative, to share with friends and relatives and so on, into something real. And this meant that we had actually a project. We had an embryo, let's say not a complete project, but an embryo of a project, which was this vehicle. But we needed, of course, the client. We had to build up the developer. We had to find the site. We had to understand how that translates into a residential program and so on. And the embryo was this small model we built in the office, which was an architectural type, quite singular because of some of the feature it had. First, it was obviously made in timber. I may say obviously because by that time we were already working with timber construction for some years, and timber for us was not a material that we knew from many years. We had actually no training back in our graduate school in Madrid, but we discovered this material over the years and we learned how to use it. We probably didn't know about what we couldn't do with timber, so we tried to do everything we could from the very beginning. We knew already many of the qualities timber construction brings with it. But the idea was to have a sort of horizontal matrix of platforms at different levels that we carve. Move on. We densify in the envelope, creating a structural envelope in which we can introduce a lot of features and functions regarding the domestic program, like planters for vegetation, integrated furniture, desks, shelves, or wardrobes, or things like that. The idea was also to change the sort of usual display of a block of 4 stories, in which you usually have one apartment per floor. And here what we were proposing was creating duplex type typologies, having one duplex on top, which is a penthouse with a terrace, and one duplex on the bottom, which is a house with a garden. Internally, there is a core with a stair, and another interesting thing is that taking advantage of the multiple intermediate levels, we place the floors with a half height difference. So the stair becomes a space not only for vertical distribution, but also for horizontal distribution. So just move up and down, walking from one room to the other. That was let's say, the embryo, the sort of the typology we wanted to develop. But we needed a site. We needed also to find the partners in our cooperative, because we were not enough people at the beginning. We found this place, which is located in the Arturo Soria area, which is the linear city in Madrid. It's an area with isolated blocks, not very dense, and it was perfect to settle this prototype we had. We had to find the partner, so we put an ad on Idealista, which is like Craigslist here in the US. We we create a dossier, we place pictures, and we didn't attract thousands of people, but we attract some enough people, adventurous, to enroll in a long-lasting trip, which is to create a cooperative from the scratch. Also, architecture act as a filter to enroll some people that we really like what they were saying. So there was no questioning from the very beginning of what are we going to do with this place, but we like this, we want to join. We also developed over the years, and after enrolling all these different partners for the cooperative, a unique system of management of the whole process, which means that the cooperative was small enough that we could customize and tailor-made every house. And this is some of the images we used to commercialize the cooperative at the very beginning to show how this matrix was, let's say, a world of possibilities, a system that could have multiple ways of integrating the domestic necessities, of the future owners, their attachments, the way they will build their home into this structure, or through this structure that as an architectural device. The result, after lots of years of developing the project, appears here in these different floor plans and section. So we have the ground floor. You can see here there is an internal core with 2 elevators and a staircase that goes all the way through the building vertically. And we have the houses all around. So that means that all the different rooms of the building have a facade and natural light and ventilation through there. The duplexes types on the ground floor have gardens on both sides that occupy the whole site, which means that there is a ramp here with accessible connection through the lower floor to get to the garden behind, where we have a swimming pool and a common garden. And there is that passage that goes through and connects with the core inside. Then you can see the section, how the different floors stack and connect one level with the other. This is the dividing line between the penthouses on top and the ground houses with the garden at the bottom. You can see also how the stairs connect the different levels of the house. And actually, there is a possibility of having that elevator providing an accessible connection to all the intermediate levels, because it has 2 doors. So you can through one door, and you can exit through the one behind. Here are some of the numbers of the development, and I think it's important to point out this number, which is the cost in euros per square meter, which talks about let's say, the economical sustainability of the project. We were a cooperative. We were using our savings to build all this, and we could not afford, to have infinite cost or not controlled cost. So we had a very tight budget from the very beginning, and it was hard. We actually found the site or the plot in a moment where the real estate market was very low, and that was provided a great opportunity in terms of the land value. But then the real estate market rises like a rocket, and we had a lot of extra costs during the construction. That created a lot of pressure sweat and tears during the whole process. But somehow we were capable of putting up a structure in timber and then filled it with other architectural elements and occupied and have these families transform into their homes. Here you can see some of the technicalities of the spruce timber structure. It had a structural envelope made with glue laminated timber, creating this frame, not light frame, but let's say a heavy frame of different elements, 14 centimeters width by 75 centimeters, which creates that shelving or shelves system and the envelope. This image shows us this capacity of converting this part into a giant meccano, a giant assembly of pieces that are put into place and assembled very much like happens with furniture or anything we could do with our hands. But the difference is that in this case, because of the size of the panels, we need cranes and we use screws that instead of being like this are like this. But the principles are very similar, and that's something also that has helped us a lot getting to know the material, the possibilities, and we can do with that because it's very very similar to what we do or what you do with your architectural models in your studios and so on. I would like to, of course, this is also a very long and complex projects in many ways, but I would like to share a couple of things regarding some technical aspects and also to show you some of the final images of the project. Here you can see the detailing of the timber and how we try to work this structural system, as I mentioned, not as a sort of industrial process that is then rendered completely explicit of the joinery and so on, but trying to put all this technical sophistication aside to have the structure perform other roles. So the idea is that the structure is not only solving the load-bearing problems of the building, and is there because it's the long-lasting layer of the building. But we understand that structure is a part of a quite delicate ecosystem of our built environment, and it relates with all the different layers of the building in a way that it has to perform other roles than just having these mechanical properties. That means that the structure will be the element that defines the openings, defines how natural light gets into the building. It can also become this support for domestic valves and so on. And that means that we have to work the structure as, taking care of the detailing, hiding many of the connections and technical aspects of the building. That could be, elastic elements to avoid acoustic bridges between houses. That means that we can use connections like this or that one, that it's a sort of conic dovetail shape made on a glue laminated panel to, as you can see here, connect with support without having a visual connection. So we don't see the screws or the bolts. We don't realize what's the sort of mechanical effort behind. We can also look at this transition between timber element and steel element. You know already about the different resistance both materials have, and that creates big problems. That usually translates into having a giant capital, a piece of transition between those elements. But here we use screws as reinforcement of the wood to transfer the loads between the wooden top and the steel column underneath. And also, we can look into this stair with all these structural elements completely exposed. And we have a 10 centimeters close-laminated panel made with 5 layers. And we carve it, we introduce this screw to connect all these elements, and we place then an element with a harder wood on top, which is the piece that will suffer all the brush and all the brushing and so on from the steps of the users. We can also look into some of the details of the facade and look at the envelope, the solution of the envelope, which is a multi-layer system with cardboard, gypsum cardboard, and insulating material, and a finishing with a cement panel outside that creates a continuous layer, waterproof and so on. We have these wooden elements outside. They are not part of the structure, but they are showing and render explicit where the structure is. And sometimes they are holding screens, solar screens for solar protection, which is something very relevant in Madrid. And this was the final output of the building. We had that block built, and we can see now some images of the interior of the spaces. I don't know if we're going very fast. Yeah, we ran out of well. So, okay, well, we can go back maybe a little. Yeah, here are some images of the houses on the ground floor, houses with the gardens. You can see the height of the living room with this 1.5 height in the side. You can see the shelves. You can see the lack of structural connections and the way the structure is exposed, which creates difficulties that we had to deal with in terms of the, as I was saying, in terms of the acoustic insulation between houses that we have to deal with. Timber structures are very light, and that's very helpful for for many features like assembling things and using cranes and the ecological footprint of the building, but creates also some problems in terms of the lack of thermal lack for the energy efficiency of the building, and also the lack of mass for acoustic insulation. You can see also in the images that all the houses look very different in terms of their type, the way the floors are assembled. Even some elements appear very different, like that chimney on the right, the steel stair that appears here that is different from other wooden stairs that we have on the building. And here is also a result of one of the houses I would like to show you more, which is my sister's apartment, located on one corner of the block, which is that one over there. And you can see some of the numbers of that's the total housing cost. That's what that's the financial effort our partners had to make to develop this. And the value below is the appraisal value that our consultants gave to this apartment, which talks about the added value we could put into place when building and developing this whole project. And the house where she lives now is this one, which features many things. So, for example, that you can see this is a 4 meters by 4 meters cantilever in the living room with no support, which is solved by a big beam located behind that white wall at the back and on top. You can see also the wooden stairs I was mentioning before. Here, this stair is actually reinforced by the glass railing on the side. And here also you can see the an image of the bedroom with the support we were seeing before, and the possibilities, these structural elements bring to the domesticity. Usually, we will have them completely detached one from the other. Here are completely interlocked, producing a new ecosystem in which we understand that we cannot separate one from the other. And this was it for the cooperative house. I would like to give the floor to Elena to introduce the library.
I'm going to try to do it quick, so we have time for you to make questions, okay? Well, this is a library we made in Barcelona. This is also an embryo we create at the studio. It was a research we made with this idea of the book on how we work with dense structure and how can we curve the pages of that book and create, depending on how we assemble those books, we develop some different projects. There is another library in the Canary Islands that is also built. And there is another library we submit for a competition in Finland for the Central Library. And we were selected for the second prize. But this one is maybe the most successful one. This is the third library. This is a competition, a public competition we won in 2015. It's located in a neighborhood outside the most touristic area of Barcelona. It's like a more like a social working class area, not completely outside of the touristic zone. It's called San Martin. That was the plot where it's located, the site. It was a cross between two secondary streets. There were no main street here. There were no plaza, and also on the back there was a police station. So we really needed to create. What our aim was to create a public space where the neighborhood will gather, a new public space for them to reconnect all the neighbors. So that is why we make those volumetric, starting from this cube. The first volumetric approach we did was to create this plaza, extending the sidewalks and also creating a kind of resemble the trees, the huge trees we have on the sidewalks, to create this like arcade below, to a place to gather and to create this new plaza for the neighborhood. And after all, we work with those stacked books that what you will see later, how we work depending on the different areas we create inside the library. This is one of the panels of the public competition we submit with the trying to express how the library is a place to everybody. So we really want everybody to be included and to be welcome in the library and to transmit the warmth that is created by the timber and the material we are working with. This is, those are the numbers that we really want to, to share, because to understand how, with the budget we have, there is not, it's a public construction, so the budget is not so not so big. So we really need to squeeze all the money, all the euros to make the best from them. That's why we understand this economic sustainability. From the very beginning in the competition, we submit the proposal made in timber, because the sustainability reasons, that means to work with a bio-based material coming from sustainable forest to have this analysis of the life cycle where you can, you stop, the construction process, you stop in here. This is for the construction, because this is one good thing that has the timber that you can really disassemble the whole library and transform in something else. And here you can see all the CO2 embedded inside into the timber and in the wood, and this is the production. So at the end, the footprint of the building is positive.
The red column on the right is what you get when you deconstruct the building and maybe burn
This is waste. Yes.
the wood as biomass.
Finish here.
But this is all CO2 that it's in the atmosphere. So you start the cycle all over again. So the trees will grow and absorb the CO2 again to grow.
If you deconstruct the building. But as Guillermo was explaining before, for us, timber is not only about the sustainability material, and the footprint, the CO2 footprint, but also a way to create to understand, to expose to the people a novel material that you can really want to touch, to smell,
to be in touch with. Contact with.
The library has a kind of innovative structure, because the whole library has these 3 legs, and we create like some trusses or like a kind of bridges that connect the 3 legs together. So, for example, in this case, we have like a 3D truss. One truss here, another truss on the back, and then some screens connecting all the 2 trusses together. So what we aim here is to have some spaces with this dense structure, that you can really feel the structure, and the structure involves the whole space. And there are some other spaces or rooms where there is no structural element at all. It's completely free of structural elements. So we have 2 different spaces, like one enclosed in this structural, and another spaces that are completely open, and exposed and connected to the triangular patio that is there in the middle, that brings all natural light to the building, and also connects together all the spaces inside the library. And on top of the library, on the rooftop, there are those skylights, like chimneys, to bring all natural light. And at the end, we have this origami dress that is made with recycled glass fiber elements that are made like surf boards that are also prefabricated as the timber elements are. that protects the whole timber structural elements. Well, we implement some sustainable strategies like cross ventilation, a whole photovoltaic panel on the two field on the rooftop. We recycle all the rainwater to water the plants that we have inside the library. And here we have some images of the working process. As you can see here, when the timber is finished, you already can feel, no, and understand the spaces, no, because the structure is everything. I mean, the structure is furniture, the structure is how we light all the interior spaces, and we create those huge windows that are not windows, but are like openings, no, surrounded by the structural elements. Also, it's important to understand that we always combine, we are not only timber fans. I mean, we work with another materials and we select which material works better in different cases, no? So it's an hybridation of timber and steel, depending on when we want each material features, no, working better. And also we have, you can see here some like
Reinforcement.
Like a steel plates incorporate inside the timber. So in sometimes we have like reinforced timber, like reinforced concrete, but in this case. And here we want to share with you a short video about the timber construction. For us, it's very important, as also Guillermo mentioned before, the conversation with all the agents that take part during the construction and during the project process, no? The architects are only part of the team, but there is a huge team that makes this kind of building possible. For us, conversations with the people who really work with the timber, no, with the manufacturers of timber, are really important, no, those conversations, because they really know, they are the experts of the timber, no, of the material. They know all the features, the characteristics, what we can do, what we cannot, no. So to extend the limits and to be innovative, we really need those conversations, no, to take to incorporate them into the process. Well, we finished the structure just when the COVID started. So the building, that all the timber were exposed to the climatic elements some months. So that's why it's so dark. But then with a light sun, it was recovered. Together, in parallel with the project, with the executive project, we start a research in our studio, trying to understand how will be the library of the 21st century. There is another really important, no, paramount conversation we had with all the librarians and the municipal library team in Barcelona. And we together start this conversation, no, because maybe for the 21st century, the traditional library didn't work any longer, no? So we start this research to reimagine how a library could be and what kind of program, no? Not only a study room, but something else. So we start we try to incorporate into the library different activities that are not library activities, no, completely outside of the library, and try to incorporate those activities into the library, and extracting for those activities, especially the experience, no. We understand. I'm gonna do an example, no. When you we analyze when you see a monologue in YouTube, no, in your cell phone, and you can laugh a little bit, but then after 5 minutes, you completely forget about that, no? And that is completely a different experience when you go a theater, you buy the entrance, you go to with your friends, no, you sit in one of those seats and you see the comedian here, no, and you really have a funny time, and that experience will last, no, for a longer time, no, in your brain, and will reshape you somehow, no. So that kind of experience is what the parameters that make that experience possible is what we really want to extract from some other.
We were trying to address a question that we think affects any architecture, which is nowadays why we have to go to a library if we have that information online, which means why we have to go to our office if we can work using Zoom, Teams, or other devices. Why do we have to go to a public square if we have Instagram or TikTok? Why do we have to come to the university if we have online teaching? And our answer to that is that a sort of experience institutions like a library can provide are completely different from what you can have on your cell phone. So we look a lot into all those elements that will not fit into an email or into a small screen, and trying to understand that many of these situations that we were looking to already happen elsewhere, but we have the possibility of bringing them into the library and intensify them with the resources we had to provide a unique experience to the neighbors and users to make the trip to the library worth.
And to reconnect all these experience, no, analysis together with the timber construction, this ecosystemic construction, no, that is how we understand the architectural development, is because we really try to respond to a lot of question in each element, no? So here you can see a portion of a detail, no? Where you can understand, and also in the cooperative building, no, that each element in the library has a multiple features, no, or
requirements.
Well, there is, well, you can skip those.
Yeah.
This is the technical floors and some shelves that are also structural, that are the same as happen in the cooperative building, no? Taking advantage of the cantilever of the building, no? Of the shape of those cantilever, we create this kind of theater for the children. And here you can see how those different programs that we develop specifically for the library are put together, creating different ecosystems, no, what we call ecosystem, and each ecosystem tries to intensify that experience. So the lighting condition, the temperature, the furniture, even the typology of the flooring, the acoustic environment, no, all those elements are specifically for this space that is different for the next.
Yeah, the idea here was that if everything is online, the collection that is relevant to us from an architectural point of view in the library is the collection of spaces we offer to the users. And we have to treat each of these individual spaces as a unique experience in which everything needs to be coherent from the programmatic point of view, from the architectural point of view, the way it relates with furniture, the way it relates with the orientation. Here it's facing southern exposure.
The envelope is directly connected with the structural elements. No, it's like
the views. It's opening. It's avoiding the frontal view to the police station behind, and it's looking toward the trees in the street. And it's creating pieces of furniture. So it's all integrated, and this created actually a big problem during the design process, because we told the developers when we were doing the basic project and designing the structure, that the structure had to be in relationship with the program, with what's gonna, what's gonna support. And that was critical, because usually you have this structure being a sort of isolated thing that you give to the engineer and you forget about it. But in this case, it was completely connected through the whole process. And it was an iterative process as well. So we have to go back and forth, defining every structural element of the library, putting them in relationship with all the different layers of the building.
And especially the collection, no? Because the librarians has a super specific way to display the collection of the whole library in the different spaces. So that's why we needed to start the conversation with the librarian, with the director of the future library, because at that moment it was future, to understand how the collection will be displayed related to the different programs. Also, I want to bring, there is this Eric Klinenberg, sociologist, thinker, that speaks about palaces for the people, no, and how the importance of those public buildings for the well-being of the society and the neighbors. And so we, in these different ecosystems, no, that we create around the building, you always find the best place to be in that moment, no? So you will find your corner of comfort, because there is a huge catalog of different ambient. Maybe you can, no? And here we are gonna pass through some examples of those different ecosystems, no? The first of all is the Agora Escaparate, like the showcase. That is this connection, the plaza that is in connection with the sidewalk, and with all the openings, no, from the ground floor. That is really important, because here we've blurred the limits between the public and the inside the library. No, you really don't know when you are inside, when you are outside. No, this cozy, warm interior is completely exposed to the exterior. So you really want to go inside the library. No, this is the ground floor, where we have some programs that we bring, that is a public kitchen or a radio to record a podcast. There are some areas in the library that has no collection at all, are like social gathering spaces, like this one, for example. And there is this stair that is the spiral I will, the spiral stair is inside this triangular patio. And here you can see the three main legs of the library, of the structure, and then the different spaces. No, here you can see that there are some main spaces completely open or completely free of structural elements, and some others like this one that are with the elements that make those trusses like bridges that create enclosed spaces. And here we have the Forum of Ideas. There is a space with a small like bubbles, like bubbles of intimacy, where you really can move the curtains and create. No, this is a space together. The curtain together with the carpet and with the sofa, you can really find a place to be by yourself, or maybe create small groups. And this is the stair inside the patio. There is this spiral of encounters. The stair is not made in timber. Finally, we did in a steel because we prefer the lightness and all the light coming from the top. So we prefer a no massive stair.
I understood that there's a condition of the public which relates with the possibility of what we call an unexpected encounter. You go to a library not only to find something you knew, but something you didn't expect to find. And in that sense, the journey through the staircase inside the courtyard of the library, it's a journey that should offer you, different possibilities, attractors, things that you were not expecting to find. And the whole courtyard actually becomes a space of possibilities, like a landscape that is offering, different alternatives through the whole experience.
We really wanted to bring the people inside the library, and we wanted for them not only to go to pick up a book and go to my place, but we try to recreate, or to provide spaces or these encounters or where you really can just go to the library to have a walk and to see what is new or what can surprise me, no? And this is the third floor with what we call this lecture palace.
Reading palace.
The reading palace. What is important to understand is that this library is located in a high density neighborhood. It's the buildings in the surrounding side, like 11, 12 floors up, and they are like very close to this working class area, like super, super dense. And this library works together with the huge trees that are in the sidewalk, and the openings that we create in the different places are at the same level as the leaves of the trees. So when you are inside the library, you really feel that you are like inside an oasis. Completely, the trees block the view of these brick, high dense neighbors. And also, well, in this catalog of different ways of reading, or the catalog of different ways of we study, part of the research was the importance of the sittings and how it modifies the experience of reading. It's not the same to read a novel in a super comfortable chair than to study in a rigid chair. Or so the catalog of different ambient, different chairs, different ways to position the body is really important, to offer all these catalog. And at the end, we really like to finish the explanation of the library with this comparison of the structural lightness, of the timber structure, where we work like a handcrafted details, where you cannot see any screw, or so everything is trying to expose the lightness of the timber, of the material, besides this social density, no? The day of the opening of the library that were completely packed. And well, nowadays the library is really full of people, no?
And this relates a lot with the cooperative from our point of view. There is an apparent effortless structure that it's playing a role relating with all the different layers of the building. And there's also recognition of the necessity of creating social bonds for any architectural initiative. And both together create structure that it's in relationship with the neighborhood, and you can no longer detach them anymore. And if we have
this is just to finish. This is the model we made for the research, not to understand all the implications between the different elements, the furniture, the structure, the envelope, no, all the relationships. And well, as in the cinema movies, no, we really want to expose or to reveal, no, all the people that makes those projects possible.
And maybe to anticipate one of the questions we usually get after the talks, which is, okay, that's nice. What are you up to now? We wanted to show you just a couple of images of one of the projects we're trying to set up again from the office, which is an initiative to create a center of innovation in timber, to do research and academic programs within the area of central Spain in Madrid. We're trying to set up this because we feel that there is, as I mentioned before, a lack of training, a lack of trust in Spain in what are the possibilities of timber construction and timber design. And we can see that a way to push this forward is to settle this center within natural forest in the outskirts of central Madrid, in Castilla-La Mancha, actually. And we've been actually working with again with an embryo, a project that need a lot of enrollments, a lot of partners to meet, to conversate with, and to join after lots of iterations. And we have come up with these images of what the place could look like, integrated within this natural place surrounded by trees, and providing an immersive experience in which you can spend some time here to have to research, to learn, and to push forward possibilities of architecture to transform our world. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.